States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That brings us to announcements, and we have two exciting announcements tonight. The first one is National Pollinator Week presentation and proclamation. Welcome, Emma.
Thank you so much, councilors and mayor, for having me here tonight. My name is Emma Gray. I'm the current chair of TPARC, the Tualatin Parks Advisory Council, and it is in that capacity that I'm thrilled to be here to celebrate and announce Pollinator Week in the city of Tualatin, June 16th through the 22nd. One of the main reasons that I am here, do I have the clicker? Sorry. That I'm here today, is this working? I don't know how to use the clicker. Yes. Thanks in no small part to the work of the people in this room and the counselors. We are designated a Bee City USA. You can see there the statement, thinking globally and acting locally. Bee City USA provides a framework for communities to work together to conserve native pollinators by increasing the abundance of native plants, providing nest sites, and reducing the use of pesticides. Bee City USA affiliates, of which Tualatin is one, make commitments to conserve native pollinators laid out in a resolution adopted by the local city council. City staff and community members work together to carry out these commitments and make their city a better place for pollinators. Designating Pollinator Week is one of those commitments. And you can see on this next slide some pollinator events and activities that also are the embodiment of that commitment. So in the last year, we have planted over 2,500 pollinator plants, all of which, most of which, if not all, are native, which equates to 13,750 square feet of habitat enhanced. That was accomplished over 5 different planting events and activities, at which 25 volunteers participated. And I would remind folks, this is the formal events. So there's lots of informal activities and events that are going on in our city to protect pollinators. Next slide. Some of the community benefits of having strong pollinators and protecting them is that we are ensuring the survival of vital animal species. We're building community, both locally and nationally as a bee city. We're improving our local food production. We support small businesses. We address pest problems, but with fewer pesticides. And we heighten awareness of biological diversity. So for the too long didn't read, protecting pollinators makes the world better for humans too. Our next slide is just a couple of pollination facts. The reason that we find pollinators are so important is that pollination is that vital stage in the life cycle of all flowering plants. And a lot of flowering plants make food. Pollinators are critical to the native species ecosystem, and an estimated 1/3 of all foods and beverages is delivered by pollinators. In the United States alone, pollination produces nearly $20 billion worth of products annually. So you can help by planting pollinator-friendly gardens, reducing your use of pesticides to support pollinators, and planting native species that attract native pollinators. We really always want to get that match really good. And a fun fact, we often think about bees and hummingbirds and all of the pretty pollinators, but aside from bees, Oregon's most prolific pollinators are moths. So if you're looking for ways that you can get involved around our town or our community, there are several links here. I encourage everybody to check them out. The Audubon Backyard Habitat Certification Program, programs through Friends of Trees, which also partner with the City of Tualatin for a lot of tree planting and pollinator planting events, the Byram School Pollinator Garden, nationwide parks for pollinators, and then, of course, Bee City USA information through the City of Tualatin. Thank you so much for allowing us this time to celebrate pollinators. Are there any questions or comments from council this evening?
Questions or comments? In a sec. Just one quick fact I learned at the Arbor Day tree planting, the bee folks were at that. Never realized if there's no bees, there's no almonds.
Oh, yeah.
That if bees disappeared, in California, or they have to actually ship them in, that the whole almond crop can't exist without bees.
Yeah.
I mean,
Walnuts.
Single-handedly.
Hazelnuts, probably, too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yep. But that's how reliant we are on bees. And if they actually have to truck them into California, because because there's not enough pollinators, bees left anymore, so these
know.
bees go all over the highway and do big road trips. Yeah, all right. Council Brooks.
I have a comment too based on that. There's a movie that's all about that, that you can look up, and I forget the name of it, but I'm sure you can find it, and it's very interesting about how they ship in those bees. I wanted to mention too that 1 in 3 bites of food is from a pollinator. And I guess I have a question. I've been watching some of the Xerces Bee USA, Bee City USA YouTube videos, which are really, really good. And one of the things that they're doing now for weeding is steam, using steam to weed. And I understand they mentioned over in Wilsonville, they have one of these things, and I'm just curious if we're have anything like that or thought of anything like that.
I know somebody who knows things about Wilsonville.
Yeah.
I'd
I
like
just
to
wanna
welcome
say-
to the stage.
I saw it on Hallmark, so I know it's real.
Welcome our Parks Director, who in a previous life was in Wilsonville. What do you know about steam weeding?
Yeah, Dustin Schul, Parks and Recreation Director, City of Tualatin. Yeah, so that is correct. In Wilsonville, we did have a steam weeder. It requires a large amount of staff resource and time because you have to consistently come back time after time. So you steam it and it kind of looks like cooked broccoli. And then if you don't, it actually smells like cooked broccoli too. But if you don't come back like a week later and re-steam it multiple times. So it is efficient in the fact, or effective in the fact that it does work non-contact with pesticides, but it does take a tremendous amount of resource. And those units are not inexpensive to get one that would work to the scale that you need for a parks department. So it's a resource allocation thing, but the other thing that the team is really proud of is they only utilize pesticides when and where it's needed, right? There's a very strategic approach with when and where and how we manage our pesticide use, and so it's a piece of the equation certainly, but not the only piece.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just like, oh, Wilsonville, they're making a. So I just want to mention too that we're the 99th city in all the cities that have gotten their Bee City certification, and I think now we're getting close to 500 campuses and cities nationwide. So I know a lot of our neighbors have also joined us, and so I just want to thank especially the Parks Department for going to the lengths of protecting our staff and our bees from pesticides and having a good IPM. And I'm curious to see like what we're going to do next around Bee City to invigorate our program. Very interested in that. So, do you have any ideas?
Like right now? No, we continue
She
to.
asked me earlier too, and
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Do you have any ideas?
No.
No, we'll continue to dig into, what are, up and coming cultural practices, how we can improve, the ways that we manage not only our well-kept park areas, but our green space areas as well. Tom and his team continue to look for ways to be creative, to give back spaces of grass that aren't really beneficial for the community to use to become pollinator habitat. They leave the leaves, which is a great initiative in the fall. It not only saves labor, but also helps protect pollinators into the fall. And they're also really proactive on when they prune. Not everything needs the commercial fall chop down, spring regrowth. Leaving things late into the fall, even though it sometimes is a little unsightly, really helps those pollinators late into the season. And planting a variety of things that flower throughout the year. You often think about flowers early in the spring, which is great. Everybody loves a good daffodil in the early spring to signal that we've made it out of winter. But there's that sustainable food source for pollinators throughout the year. So we'll continue to learn and grow and kind of do what we can on the front edge of that as we move forward, certainly.
Thank you.
And planting with natives wherever we can. So at the new Veterans Plaza, a lot of those plantings are native plants. Daffodils are not, but they're lovely and we think they're amazing. But looking for these opportunities where if we have to put something new in, does it flower? When does it flower? Is it native? And our Parks Department is really sensitive to that and thinks about all those things in really intentional ways. So we're lucky.
Yes. That's all I've got.
Seems like a good time for a
I
proclamation.
think I could, are you ready, Mayor?
Sure.
All right, here we are. So, the City of Tualatin proclamation, whereas pollinators such as thousands of species of bees are essential partners in producing much of our food supply, and whereas pollinators provide significant environmental benefits that are necessary for maintaining healthy, diverse ecosystems in towns and cities, and whereas pollination plays a vital role for the trees and plants of our community, enhancing our quality of life and creating recreational and economic development opportunities. And whereas the City of Tualatin manages parks, public landscaping, and other public lands that include greenways, natural areas, and wildlife habitats. And whereas the City of Tualatin provides recommendations to developers and residents regarding landscaping to promote wise conservation, stewardship, including the protection of pollinators and maintenance of their habitats. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Tualatin, Oregon, that the City of Tualatin designates the week of June 16th through the 22nd as National Pollinator Week in the City of Tualatin, introduced and adopted this 9th day of June, 2025. Thank you.
Huzzah.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thanks
so
for all
much.
your work on it.
Cindy, there's no one to receive yours. All right. You said you have one more thing to say or no? Okay.
So I just wanted to say that I met a city councilor when I was at one of the LOC conferences from Talent, which is a very small city that they can't even put a zero on their budget because of rules, so they can't collect any taxes. And they have a yearly harvest festival, and the city councilors were so excited about Bee City. They've invited me to be in their annual parade and dressed as a bee in when is it? It's in Harvest Festival, so I think it's like October or something like that. I'll keep you updated. But they're really excited about doing a Bee City for themselves, so I thought it was really cute. And I just talked to them this week.
All right. That brings us to announcement number 2, a proclamation declaring June 19, 2025 as Juneteenth in the City of Tualatin. This will be done by Councilor Hillier.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just wanted to share a couple local ways that people could get involved in Juneteenth. The City of Tigard will host its 4th annual Juneteenth Freedom Day celebration at Cook Park on June the 14th from 3 to 6 p.m. And they'll have activities, a walk, and free delicious food, it says, live music, entertainment, yard games, and things like that. There are other things happening at Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation. As a reminder, the city manager noted that the City of Tualatin offices will be closed in honor of Juneteenth. However, the library will be open, and they will be closing early at 6 p.m. So I have the honor of getting to read this proclamation. Whereas the City Council 2030 vision is for Tualatin to be an inclusive community that promotes equity, diversity, and access in creating a meaningful quality of life for everyone. And whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring enslaved people as free, paving the way for the passage of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States. And whereas Texas was the last of the Confederate states to receive orders requiring the end of the slavery, with Union troops announcing that all slaves were free in Galveston, Texas on June 19, 1865. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and has been celebrated by the Black American community for more than 150 years. And whereas Juneteenth celebrates the end of slavery and recognizes the high price Black Americans have paid for the civil rights and equal access. Whereas Juneteenth is an occasion to remember and reflect on the significant ways that African Americans have enriched society throughout their contributions. And whereas Tualatin is a community that includes, values, and welcomes diversity in our community, and we believe that the rich diversity of communities in Tualatin is one of our greatest strengths. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Tualatin, Oregon, that June 19th, 2025 is recognized as Juneteenth in the City of Tualatin. The community is encouraged to respect and honor our diverse community, celebrate and build a culture of inclusivity and acceptance. Introduced and adopted this 9th day of June, 2025, City of Tualatin, Oregon.
Thank you, Councilor Hillier. That brings us to public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not on tonight's agenda. Please keep your comments to about 3 minutes. If there's anyone in this room who would like to address the council, this will be the appropriate time. After that, I'll open the floor to folks on Zoom. Do we have anyone in attendance tonight who would like to say anything but in resident or in public comment? Going once, twice, in Zoom? All right. That brings us to the consent agenda. Consent agenda, those items in section D are considered routine and will be adopted by one motion unless someone on the council would like them removed and heard separately later tonight. Tonight's consent agenda consists of 4 items. Item number 1 is consideration of approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes of May 27th, 2025. Item number 2, consideration of resolution number 5881-25, authorizing the City of Tualatin to enter into a letter of agreement with Washington County Disability, Aging, and Veteran Services. Item number 3, consideration of resolution number 5882-25, authorizing the city manager to execute a grant agreement for an Oregon Department of Emergency Management state and local cybersecurity grant. And finally, item number 4, consideration of resolution number 5884-25, authorizing the city manager to execute an intergovernmental agreement amendment with Washington County regarding the Tualatin-Sherwood Road Widening Project. Would any councilor like to have one of these items remove consent and heard later tonight? Okay, seeing none.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda as read. Any discussion on those motions? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Thank you. That brings us to special reports. First special report tonight is the annual report for the Tualatin Arts Advisory Committee. Julie's back.
I apologize in advance for how many times you're going to see me tonight.
Yep. Welcome, Janet and Julie.
Hey, we are a tag team. Good evening, Mayor Bubenik and Council. I am still Julie Ludeman, Recreation Manager, and I am here with Janet Steiger-Carr, the Chair of the Tualatin Arts Advisory Committee, and Janet's going to present our annual report.
Okay. This lifelong theater artist, mother of a professional costume designer and mask making and wig making child and daughter of a professional photographer, and finally, in the last years of his life, painter, is very proud to be the chair of the Tualatin Arts Advisory Committee, and here sharing this pride and what we have accomplished this year with everyone. First of all, who we are. We believe in our mission statement, so I am going to read it. We are Tualatin Arts Advisory Committee's mission is to support, connect, and inspire the creation and integration of all art forms into our city's rich cultural heritage and vibrant future. We believe in the involvement in the arts. We believe that involvement in the arts creates more energetic, engaging, welcoming, livable community. And further, we believe that art itself facilitates strong communities through connection, culture, creativity, imagination, and inspiration. This particular piece of artwork in between, you might recognize that lovely walkway back behind the Starbucks as you're going back toward the Heritage Center by Ryan O'Leah, is on display at the Juanita Pohl Center right now. Our 2024-25 members. We do look a little color coordinated. We didn't. We just happened that way. Jeannie is missing from this particular picture. Dawn has moved on. We will miss her terribly. And Callie, right there, center, is our youth member of the TAC committee. What we do, well, we have monthly meetings. We represent Tualatin Arts to the council and the public. We attend activities and events. We encourage opportunities for arts recognition, and we stimulate private and public support for the arts. The picture is SP 4447 by Phil Juttelstad, and it also is on display at the Juanita Pohl Center. Our 2024 and 25 accomplishments. We installed 3 Veterans Plaza service-inspired art pieces. We gave financial support to 3 arts agencies. We had a Community Enhancement Award for Mitch Charter School. That was a wonderful enhancement award. They all are, but that one was fun. We did traffic signal box wraps. And one thing that's not on here is we did a display of public artwork at the Tualatin Heritage Center. And we will be doing another one come this August. Veterans Plaza service-inspired art. Julie and I felt it important to go through the timeline when we talked about how it took us to get to where we were this Memorial Day. It's a phenomenal journey. March and May 2023, we as a committee with the consultants created a request for qualifications. We sent that out all over the world, actually. August and September 2023, we reviewed 43 artist submissions from all over the globe. It was quite wonderful. We narrowed those down to 5 semifinalists. They were invited to come to Tualatin and present 2 days of their ideas in presentations. February 2024, the final artist selection was unanimous. April 2025, April 28th, 2025. I was there in the plaza at 9:30 in the morning, and I filmed that art installation of the first piece going in. 2 guys and a forklift, that's what it took. And I watched Dow running around that plaza to get the orientation just right. And when he ran past me, I allowed myself to say bravo. It was wonderful. May 2025, we had the dedication and the ribbon cutting. After the dedication and the ribbon cutting, I went around the plaza to the other veteran service that was being done on the other side. During that series of presentations, I am digressing just a little, but it's a piece I would like to share with you because it's important to the art. One of the people who talked was the father. He was a Gold Star father. They were a husband and wife, family in Tualatin, and their son Andrew had been killed in the mountains of Afghanistan. When I heard this, my heart jumped out of my chest. Because on October 19th, 2012, Dow Blumberg, our artist who did our artwork, his piece called America's Response Monument, honoring U.S. soldiers who had fought in Afghanistan, was placed across from Ground Zero in front of World Trade Center. I took the moment after that particular service to walk around and to share that connection with the Gold Star mom. And her face and her hug reinforced the idea that art heals. Art connects us. It's a universal language. And I wanted to share that with the council and everybody to say, we did good. The Veterans Plaza service-inspired art by the amazing Dow Blumberg. Wings of Freedom, Flames of Honor, Wings of Peace. There's one more component to our Veterans Plaza that I didn't realize until I was there at the memorial service that I had asked for. And it was a tactile piece that I have a friend who is a veteran. He has retinitis pigmentosa. I am always a proponent of something Braille, something that explains the artwork, something you can feel. And the emblems, the service emblems that we have in that plaza are raised. So you can do rubbings on them, and you can also put your hands. And someone who is blind could feel the pictures of the Service Plaza emblems. We also did arts agency support grants for Mask and Mirror, Theater Company, SNA Irish Entertainment, and Wilsonville Stage. Mask and Mirror and Wilsonville Stage do their performances at the Heritage Center. Community Enhancement Award. We honored Mitch Charter School for the inclusion of students in the creation of temporary and permanent arts installations and the integration of art into core curriculum areas. That was a wonderful day. And what's going in this month? Traffic signal box wraps, 4 more. You will see blue across from the police station by the Heritage Center on Southwest Sweek. Artist is Brenna White. Mount Hood is going to be going in at Southwest Martinazzi by the Fred Meyer, right down below the Starbucks that's there. They do such a lovely job maintaining that hillside. I've wanted a box wrap there for a long time. And that is Andrea Lopez Chen. Seasonal Leaves, artist Andrea Ten, will be right down here. Herman and Teton. So you guys driving here will be able to see that beautiful piece of artwork. The last one is Go a Cow by artist Andrea Lopez Chen. That will be at the skate park Scotterbox. That was in conjunction with Public Works, if I remember correctly. It does have lettering, Chinese figure on it, and we did our due diligence, and that means love. That symbol means love.
I also have some breaking news.
Yes.
Those boxes are scheduled to be wrapped tomorrow. So these were the renderings, which
Yes.
look like they're actually in place, but no, that will be happening, and that will be for real tomorrow.
Yay, excellent, excellent.
And next slide.
Yep. And our 2025-26 goals, they remain, always will be, identify future arts programs and projects, Continue to support local arts programming through grants and awards. Support and facilitate art installations within new Parks Bond projects. Continue to look for ways to partner with community organizations. Support arts inclusion in future planning projects in Cora. And I would invite anyone in this room or listening to please feel free to contact me if you have an idea about something that the Tualatin Arts Advisory Committee would be interested in to help our city. I'm a perfect repository for that information. And that is it. I am done. Thank you.
Questions or comments for Janet and/or Julie? Councilor Reyes.
Comment. I have to say that you inspire. You're like the way you gave the presentation. I'm like, oh my God, this is so catchy, and thank you so much for just making our city look beautiful. I always say that when we interview, I'm one of the individuals that interview our city, some of our city residents to be part of the committee or different committees, and I am always like amazed on the talent that we have here in Tualatin.
Yes.
I am so honored to serve on that committee because I never would have known the talent. I mean, seriously, I know I sound like a broken record all the time, but it is really an honor to be in this committee and see the talent that our city has, and it's just amazing. So thank you for making our city look beautiful with murals that I look at and I wonder what to do, and I never have anything in my brain. And you guys look at it and you're like, create this masterpiece. So thank you for that.
Thank you. No, thank you. I have a wonderful, passionate group of creatives that love the city.
Other questions or comments? Councilor Brooks.
Thank you for your phenomenal presentation and really great leadership. It is a really great committee, and also Julie, you do an incredible job and have taken us through the transition too of Parks directors at the same time. As such an exciting year, I also appreciate your leadership, Brett, and also representation at the Cora when. Because you guys are busy and talented and doing all kinds of stuff. So your perspective brings a lot. The work that was done on these RFPs, not just for Dow's work, which is amazing, but for all the submissions that we get for the Art Wraps projects and other projects, that they're from all over the world, and it just really reflects the work and the homework and the time spent really crafting that, and Julie pulling in the consultant and just doing that in a way that I think has really improved the process, walking through it. And I guess we didn't mention the storm drain murals. I don't know if you would like.
That'll be next
That's
fiscal
next.
year.
That'll be in the next annual report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about the change in the giving the money to the arts organizations? That's next
That'll
year.
be next year.
Okay.
Next fiscal.
Yeah.
And they plan so far ahead. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. We're good.
Councilor Hillier.
I just wonder, how do you decide which art should go where for the wraps? Like, is there like a strategic, like, we hope to incite this feeling in this area? Like, I mean, I'm just curious about that. Could you speak to it, please?
We narrowed down the art, kind of know that process. We had, what do we have, 60 some?
60 odd.
For rats, and then we had to narrow that down. We narrowed that down, I think it was to 30. That was through the committee's process of elimination. And then we did a public narrowing down of that. And then we had the pieces that were our top pieces from that. But then we also did a field trip. And we drove everywhere, because some of the boxes we're not able to wrap because they're not necessarily city boxes. So we had to choose the areas. And we did a bus tour. Julie was our driver. She is a Renaissance gal. I don't know what the heck I'd do without her. And she drove the bus, and we went around to all the sites. And then as a group in the bus, we chose the sites that we felt were most appropriate for a box. We chose sites that would not be a safety hazard, you know, for making a turn, like, oh gosh, look at that box, you know, and the car's over that way. And also ones that we knew could be seen, like the one here, Teton and Herman. We wanted to ensure that it could be seen from a distance. And that as you're coming closer to it, you see the detail, but it's also a box that looks really, really good from a distance. The one at the skate park didn't really matter as much because it's not being driven by. And then also taking into account overtures from people in the community around a certain spot that we really like this one, and then we as a committee kind of went, yeah, that goes really well there. So it's a whole, hopefully, process of elimination and fairness. And, thank you for the question. We appreciate it. It's fun. It is.
Any other questions or comments? Look at Councilor Sacco.
I don't have any questions, but thank you so much for the informative presentation and for your enthusiasm and just the great contributions that the Tualatin Arts Committee has in Tualatin. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Janet.
Thank you all.
Okay. Next up, our next special report is Ross Baker, the annual report of the Tualatin Historical Society. Welcome, Ross.
So I was doing some good-natured ribbing with Janet before about who would give the better presentation, but she didn't tell me she was coming up here with Julie, so not fair. And just say that right now, next year I get Julie. We had am I controlling the movement of the slides also with this thing? Yeah, okay. We had a pretty good year, I have to say. I want to thank the city for the new carpet and paint. It was long overdue, and we're grateful that we have it, and we get a lot of compliments. We also want to thank you for the great working relationship that we have with Cameron Eby. And Ebby, am I pronouncing his name right? It's just Cameron to us, and I'm not used to saying his last name. Fantastic. Him and Rick, our manager, get along famously, and that just works out really well. So we're doing all the things you'd expect us to be doing at the Historical Society. We have our evening and daytime programs. We have our displays. Come on in, especially to see the one on military that we put up for Memorial Day. And it will be there for most of the summer, I expect. We're working to have more presence at community events like CIO events, and also our visitor counts at the center and our memberships are up. We're adding to our oral history inventories. We have done our Heritage Evening last year. That's our single fundraiser of the year. We'll be doing it again this year. I'll talk a little bit about that. We have new products in our little store there. And it's not a big deal for you guys, but it's huge for us. We've got a big, huge, brand new filing cabinet and some volunteers to help us get some of our flat archives, our pieces of paper, into order. So with the goal that families can actually come in there and do research on their names and their families. So that's something that we're working toward. But we're also a lot more than that. We're the Tualatin Ice Age Society. We're home to the Lower Columbia chapter of the Ice Age Floods Institute. We have a lot of programs that we've done. I've listed some examples there from the past fiscal year. We're also the home to the North American Research Group and their monthly meetings. And we're not only that, we're the Tualatin Live Arts Society. We've hosted the Crimson Airs, one of my favorites, and of course, as already mentioned by Janet, we have Mask and Mirror community theater plays. We had a historical conjurer there, a magician. something that Janet was involved in herself, All the Doctors of Our Lives, and the Wilsonville Stage, and a Valentine mosaic, and also, of course, our poetry contest, and we're also the Tualatin Educational Society. We have painting classes and writing classes, not only for memoirs, but love stories. We've invited and have hosted homeschool tours at the society with a docent available to make sure that the kids walk away with a deep understanding of local history. We've also hosted special tours and visits from local senior living groups. And one of my favorite things that happened this year was an aging in place, but for your landscaping. A lot of times people look at the home inside, but what about your yard, and how can you? And by default, the Historical Society, a lot of our members and people who follow us can benefit from something like that. We are the Tualatin Veterans Society. We have complete photo documentation of the new Veterans Plaza from the first shovel in the ground to the completion, that we wanted to make sure it was in our archives. We started a new veterans database. We had a veterans database that we used before, but we wanted to make it more user-friendly. And so now today, if you go to our webpage, toward the bottom, there's a section, on the landing page, there's a Did You Know section, and there's a link that'll take you there, and you can not only review local veterans, but also, if you know somebody, you can encourage them to get their names into our database so that future residents of Tualatin will be able to know who the local citizens were that served. We have continued our tradition of co-sponsoring the Memorial Day lunch over at the community park, and we started a new tradition this year, and that's before all the events start on Memorial Day. We have Operation Coffee and Donuts for vets at the Heritage Center. We're also the Tualatin Big Events Society. The fabric of our lives was, we're going to be doing this every 2 years, and if you've never been to a quilt show, and I have to admit I'm not necessarily a big quilt fan, but it was really, really cool. We had speakers coming in from all over the state, from Portland State University, and talking about the history of quilts. There were quilts on display in the Heritage Center all weekend, and it was just really a well-done event, and I'm really proud that we did it. We keep up our tradition of our old-fashioned Christmas with St. Nicholas and songs and chocolate and cookies and that kind of stuff. Gives the local people a place to go and sit on Santa's lap. Also, this was earlier in last year, but the history of the LGBTQ plus community in Tualatin was well attended, and we have a local videographer and also a local person who is working hard to set up a series of oral histories that we want to get into our archives to capture that part of our community. And the Fossil Fest this year, it's the first Saturday in August. It'll be the 16th annual. That's from last year, that little poster there. Probably our most well-attended event, probably 500, 600 people there on Saturday. And there are tables set up. If you have a fossil, bring it in. They'll tell you what it is. And we'll have dinosaur tracks chalked onto our parking lot. It's a lot of fun. And of course, the Ice Age is also part of what we do. The Tualatin Community and Fellowship Society. We've played host for Tualatin Together, Chamber of Commerce events, of course, our 4th of July picnic. We always have our fall membership meeting and our Heritage Evening fundraiser. And I already mentioned we do CIO events, and we also participate at the Senior Resource Center. I think one of the things that we do, which might not be so well appreciated, but it's a win-win for us, and one of our largest sources of revenue is rentals. And there's not a lot of places in town where people can do baby showers and reunions and birthday parties and graduation events and celebrations of life. It's very economical, very reasonable, and it gives us a chance to make some money too. We are the Tualatin Place Where Fourth Graders Learn History Society. This may not be the biggest event, but it's probably the hardest one to do. Over 30 volunteers, about 2,200 man hours, 150 students, 2 schools, 6 teachers, and 16 parents, some chickens, and a cow. Yeah, Janet was bragging about some Chinese go cow or whatever. We had a cow, okay? So wrap that around your utility post or whatever you're doing. The learning stations that we had this year We're a one-room schoolhouse, pioneer artifacts, native people and plants, farming, homesteading, land claims, pioneer children's games, ice age animals, and laundry. And if you've ever seen a fourth grader ring laundry through a wringer and then ask questions like, who invented this? When was it made? I don't know, it's pretty fascinating. And they don't crush their fingers because we watch them real closely. And the Tualatin, oh yeah, Local History Society. We have our quarterly newsletter, our oral histories. We're doing the Galbraith wagon's not coming. It's there. If you haven't been to the Heritage Center, it's behind a farm fence. And I'll let you go there. We have temporary interpretive information up. We're getting a nicer sign. But read about it because it's only been with 3 families since that wagon was first shipped in 1900. Over 125 years old. And it's completely refurbished, and we're awfully proud of it. We're also proud of the things we do in the library display case. I think the best example of the last year was sewing through the ages that we did at the same time where we're going to have the quilt thing that we did. And then, of course, all the programs that we do. There's a list of some of the programs that we do, the monthly programming. Let's talk about financials. This was made through 3/4 of the fiscal year, just to keep it nice and smooth. Of course, the fiscal year ends here. And you would expect, of course, the revenue to be at about 75%, but it's at 83%. So we're in good shape there. Donations and memberships are better than expected. Fundraising and product sales are likely to end the year slightly down. About 1/3 of the money that we have is in savings and short and midterm CDs. So we try to make money with our money too. I don't know if it would come up tonight, but I decided to be proactive and say we like, but we do not rely on grants. When we go after a grant, it's something very specific, a project that we have in mind, and we don't go after grants for grants' sake or to supplement our budget. And the reason I mention that is Washington County has had some problems with their museum, and about 80% of their revenue was coming from 3 grants. So we don't do that. We like them. We love grants. Here's our expenses. It's in the package that you have. You can go through there and see that those are well controlled for the year. A little bit about membership. It's up a little bit. I wanted to point out a few things about membership. About 20% comes from a little bit more pricier memberships. You can see there at the top. I think the thing that's most amazing, and people notice it every year, is that we have 29 seniors, and at the Historical Society, a senior is somebody who's over 90. So that's when you get a free membership, when you're over 29, or over 90. And we also started something a few years ago, free community memberships for the city employees, police, Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, and teachers, because we like them to have the opportunity, and we want to share with them. Okay, we always celebrate the best of who we are. The top 2 are the Lafke Martinazzi Awards. Those are the ones who work hardest on getting our mission statement out to the community. And last year that was Art Sasaki, or this year I should say, and Maddie Klinke. She was an intern working with Sandra Lafke Carlson, our history historian. And then down below, the President's Award, that's more of a getting our name out into the public and kind of a PR thing. And we give that to Tualatin Valley Community Television. They have been very generous with their time in helping us professionally record a lot of the programs that we have. And they just look really good on our YouTube channel and also in our archives. So it never freezes. Here's some things we're going to do this next year. I think we'll go right to the bottom there. I think the thing that the city could be most helpful with is we want to find placement at the Heritage Center for the propeller for the 1952 crash, which happened south of town when the plane went down. If you're not familiar about that, I can talk to you about that offline. But that's been offered to be gifted to us. I think it would make a really cool piece of art. Janet, you can help with that. I just think to remember those people, the veterans who died, and it wasn't obviously during a wartime incident. It was just a horrible accident that happened south of town in a B-29 Super Fortress. And then also, this is going back to early last year, but those ice-looking fountains, we don't need them to work, but we think that they need to be somehow memorialized and at the Heritage Center outside someplace in our garden with a little plaque explaining what they are and what they did for a long time at the Lake of the Commons. I want to talk a little bit about Sweek House. The plan was to do something in July, excuse me, but Rebecca Pratt, if you know her, she broke her shoulder. So it's going to be the fall. But anyway, we want to have a VIP event, which means all of our members at the Tualatin Historical Society and the City Council and a lot of the managers and the people who move and shake in Tualatin to come and get a tour of the Sweek property and see what's happening over there. The family is working toward eventually having it open and available to the public. And so we want to share with you sort of advanced peek of what's happening over there, and the Historical Society is helping them with that. No major changes in the board the past year. We do have a couple of younger people that have come about as an effort from fall of 2023 off-site meeting that we had to basically define what qualities we were looking for in board members and how we onboard them, a 5-step process to onboard them. And it works. It's only found 2 people so far, but we think it's because we're just not going to take somebody for the sake of filling a slot. And last thing, and that is our Heritage Evening. This year's theme is going to be Tualatin Trivia. Last year, you remember, we had the magician. It was sort of historical magic. But we're going to have a contest over dinner on September 5th, and we'll be asking questions like the settlement, which became known as Tualatin, was first called Sweekville, Galbraith, Bridgeport, or Boone's Landing. That's all I got.
Questions for Ross? Let's see, Councilor Sacco. All right. So, Councilor Brooks.
Thanks for all your work. It's so exciting to hear everything that you've been doing. I'm not going to get involved in your competition, but I thought you did a very nice job.
Just buy a ticket.
Yeah, right. I had 2 things just that had come up. We did the Clackamas City's dinner, and the guest speaker was former Governor Kate Brown, and there was conversation around, what's that group?
The Willamette Falls Trust.
The Willamette Falls Trust that are working on the falls preservation, and they had the meeting at the old, the former city hall over there. They have 2 city halls, by the way. And so I asked them, because they were looking at people to partner, and I asked them about the Tualatin Heritage Center, and your board members are on the board, and they're everybody knew right away who you guys were, and just had such a big footprint in that. So I just wanted to say kudos to the leadership and engagement regionally as well, which we don't always necessarily hear about in this room. And then the other thing that I wanted to say was when we were doing the tour with the consultant for the downtown redevelopment, she very much was interested in the Sweek House and was very impressed by that property. And anyway, so that might be an interesting conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? All right, so the only thing I have is, again, do you have any more of these to hand out, or can people grab them at the Historical
I
Society?
don't have them with me, but
Okay.
yeah, as you walk in the front door,
Okay.
they're there.
So on Memorial Day, Ross was handing these out, so you can, as I was walking around town, and I've been asking people that are vet or not, you can just put this in their hand, and it's a little QR code where, if anyone, a family member or the service member themselves can hit the QR code and get their story and get in a database about being a veteran. So I want to promote that and help Ross with that. Second thing is, the donut thing was pretty cool before Memorial Day. So you got to be jazzed up on donuts and coffee. And, we kept our speeches short and stuff like that, but everybody was pumped up for the event. So I'm looking forward to that next year.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Thank you, Ross.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So that brings us to item number 3, our summer programs preview. Julie's back with Sarah.
Well, good evening again, Mayor Bubenik and Council. Can I get someone to adjust the lines? Okay, well, I'm going to squint
Shift-
a little
shift
bit.
over.
Shift, scooch over.
Is that helping?
There we go. That makes it worse. Oh, does it? Okay,
There you go.
Here we go. All right, we're good.
Just lean the microphone forward. Yeah.
Thank you for those technical adjustments. Well, I'm just so thrilled to be here, especially coming off the heels of hearing from the Heritage Historical Society and Arts Committee. There's just so much going on in this community, and I'm just really excited and very happy to be part of it. And so I'm also thrilled to be here with Sarah Jessett Dawson from the Tualatin Public Library, and we're here to tell you all about the things that are happening in Tualatin this summer. And with that, so a mere 2 days ago, there were 1,000 kids running in Tualatin Community Park for the Blender Dash, and if you go to the park today, you'll never even know that it happened.
It was quick. How quick? I can't believe how quick you cleaned up.
We have such a fantastic team, and lots, I believe there were 60 plus volunteers. A lot of people went into making that event happen, and it's always such a fun time. Super colorful, super exciting, color, mud, foam, obstacles, and zombies, and 1,000 kids. So that kind of kicked us off into summer season, and it's in high gear already.
Well, we actually already got started a little bit early with the library. Our theme this year is Level Up. So we had a carnival on May 31st because summer reading is supposed to start June 1st, but we gave everybody a sneak peek to get in. And we had about 600 people at that event. Lots of carnival games, lots of engagement with our teen volunteers and other volunteers as well, getting ready for summer reading. So I took a peek before I got here. We have about 900 people signed up so far.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Some of the things that we are doing this year, The Man in the Bubble is science fiction author Cory Doctorow. He is a New York Times bestselling author, and he will be at our library on Sunday the 22nd at 2, giving a talk from his most recent works. The picture behind are 2 of our teen volunteers leading PJ Storytime. This is a beloved tradition for us. We train some of our teen volunteers who are interested in doing it, because interest is really important, on how to deliver a story time, how to plan a craft that goes along with this, and then everybody gathers on Thursdays in the children's room, and the teens are in their PJs, and the kids are having a great time. Some of the other things we've got going on, we have found that bringing our story times out into the parks is a really great way to meet with our community. So we circle around all our parks. We're really grateful for Parks Maintenance and Parks for helping us reserve the spaces and getting out there. That's Sam reading one of her favorites at the Trestle Shelter last year. And of course, we are a library that's really well known for music. That is Portland musician Joe Kai, who is an Oregon Fellow from last year as well. He's starting to do his performances again, and we were actually one of the first places he called and said, "I'd love to be there," because he knows that our communities really support what he does.
I also realized that we did not get it into this presentation, but we had a really, really fantastic partnership with many city departments, including Parks and Recreation and the library and Public Works, and that was the Big Truck Day.
Oh,
that
yes.
was incredibly well attended, better than we had ever anticipated. So we're already looking at ways to make it even bigger and better next year, but that was a really fun, fantastic event. So kudos.
That really was, yeah. I also want to thank our friends of the library that does a lot to support the programs that we have. We do get a grant from the state library called Ready to Read. We use that to provide books for kids and teens who are signing up for summer reading, and another book when they finish. But the friends also support, because we love handing out books, towards that effort, as well as the programs that we put on during the summer. And a little bit more, Callie is all over.
She's everywhere.
She's going to be you.
Yeah, she's everywhere you
She's
wanna be.
everywhere. So she's been our teen intern this spring and helping us develop some of the plans that we have for our teen volunteers. She's been working with Amy Michael, our teen volunteer, our teen librarian, on that. But this is Callie from last year when she was just at a program. So we have a lot of teen events. We have a really fun one called the Pickle Autopsy. They're going to slice pickles open. Ooh. Yeah. I think if I was a teen, I would have liked that better than the frog that I had to do.
I'm getting visuals of frogs.
Yes. And then out on the plaza, we are bringing Science Spectacular back. It is hands-on, messy, fun science learning for elementary school age kids. And we have our chamber music back in August. The Willamette Valley Chamber Music Festival will be with us again.
So the next big community event that is hosted in Tualatin Community Park is coming up on Saturday, July 12th. That is Viva Tualatin, a celebration of arts and culture. And we are, again, the library, partnering with the library. You're going to be bringing all sorts of fun books and crafts and all sorts of goodness to the event. We also have really, really good food vendors, performers, and a lot of really interesting vendor booths. So we're really excited. That's from 2 to 8 p.m. on July 12th at Tualatin Community Park. Great experience for our local community groups and local businesses to really get their faces out there and celebrate our community. So.
Yeah, I know we have 2 bands for this. We also have Ballet Folklorico and a roping demonstration.
The Charria. And you can see the photograph on the top there of the horse. They are actual dancing horses. Last year, I came around the corner and I saw a horse sitting like a dog, and I said, I didn't know they could do that, but they can, and it was on purpose, and it was really incredible, and it was such an interesting and just really visual celebration to see that happen in our park. So we're bringing them back because it was very, very cool.
Again, what time?
From 2 to 8 p.m. on July 12th. In less than 2 weeks, summer camp will be kicking off also in Tualatin Community Park. We have our 1st through 6th graders. We have 8-week program. There's 512 kids. That's our maximum. And then our 7th through 10th grade teen camp. That's 8 weeks, and we've got that filled up with 94 teens. They go on trips all 3 days. They have a 3-day week, and they go on trips every day. So really excited about that summer camp program. I know you've heard a lot about the demand, and we're working on ways to be able to increase the supply, but really what we're always going to do is we're going to provide the best quality programs that we can with the resources we have. We have a fantastic group of staff. We only had to hire 1 new person this year because all of my staff are returning, so I feel very, very happy about that.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah, so we've got a great program, great staff, and really fantastic that we're able to offer this to lots of Tualatin families with our Tualatin resident advanced registration priority. So that has helped a lot as well. And then concerts. Concerts are happening. We have the fantastic chamber music concerts inside the library. We also have a little bit louder concerts out in the parks. And those are starting on Friday, July 11th. So we have 4 Friday night concerts. I really want to draw special attention to the concert on August 8th. This is our concert that is celebrating Pride. Pride Month is June, but we are taking the celebration all the way through to August, and we're partnering with Tualatin Valley Pride for a Pride Stride pre-concerts and then our bands and performers. So very much looking forward to that. And then we're also continuing with our lunchtime concerts. These will actually be held over on the Yvette Plaza side. We're really happy with that new space, and I think it's going to be a great location for some concerts. We've already got picnic tables built in. We're hoping to really help to support our businesses and restaurants on the lake. So hope to see some of you out at a concert or two this summer.
And of course, we engage our community through volunteering this time. The summer teen program has been a really huge part of the library. We also have tweens, so we keep the kids who have been coming through Tween Takeover, our monthly Saturday program, are invited to be with us for the summer as well. So we have about 40 youth who come in. They all apply and interview, and they help us out with a lot of programs, especially with the Makerspace. They help us with displays throughout the summer. They help us with the messier parts of Science Spectacular and help out with the parks, the Storytime in the Parks program. We really see a lot of those teens. They help us with collection things too, meaning what do we do with those books? Do we, every so often we have to part with some of them so we can add in the new things, and they're going to help us with that process as well. Blender Dash, of course, and Viva Tualatin also bring in a lot of volunteers as well, about 200 to put those events on. And then Parks also has their program, the Team Tualatin. It's about 70 youth who are helping out with our parks, trails, and with park projects that they can assist parks maintenance with. It's about 7 weeks of working outdoors and really being a vital part of keeping Tualatin beautiful during the summer. There's also a Hug a Park Trail or Tree group of projects that are scheduled.
We get a lot done with volunteers in this community, and I think it's a testament to our volunteer services department and to just the people who live here and their connection with, as I'm getting blinded again, but their connection with this city. I think, you can go a lot of places and you can kind of be an anonymous face, and sure, you can do that here too, but there are so many ways to be involved and so many ways to be parts of these programs and really feel like you have that connection. And Councilor Brooks, you talked earlier about how isolation and how that can be as physically painful as other disorders. And so really having all of these activities and programs and volunteer, we are helping to support everybody through all of the different ways. And there are just, if there's nothing for you, you probably haven't looked hard enough, because there's quite a bit. So I'm really happy to be a part of that.
The Tualatin Police Department has their heroes camps, and I know this has to do with educating and bringing up, responsible youth. I even looked up, because last time I had to talk to this, Bates texted me what it stood for, and can I recall it off the top of my head? No. However, it is for students who are in middle school. It's 4 one-week sessions of them, and they also have those social and educational opportunities throughout that, as well as contact with our police. There's also contact with our police through National Night Out program, the first Tuesday in August, and it's really kind of a neighborhood celebration and getting to know your community as well. Julie, you're just glowing.
Hey, let me just interject. HEROES stands for Helping Educate Responsible, Outstanding, Everyday Students.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I totally knew that. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so Juanita Pool Center, you heard during work session from Sarah Shepard, the center supervisor. The Juanita Pool Center really does a great job of some very great variety of programs, whether it's fitness, lifelong learning, social programming, and trips. So there's just some of the highlights for this summer. There's a mindfulness series, so mindfulness for every day. They're doing a whale watching and WNBA trip. It's a 2-day trip. Senior safety and hands-only CPR, and also getting out to Sahaley and Coosa Falls for some hiking. So lots of great opportunities to be involved with the Whitey Devil Center. And we have also recreation partners that help do a lot of things that we can't always do ourselves. So we have partnership with our Tualatin Youth Sports Leagues, Tualatin Historical Society, you heard from Ross just before us, Skyhawk Sports Camp and Kiddo Kinetics, provide some sports development programs for younger children. Tualatin Pickleball Club, I'm sure if you've been to Community Park, you've seen, it's fairly popular. And Willowbrook Arts Camp is returning.
So excited to have them back.
Pickleball or Willowbrook?
Willowbrook.
Okay. Because
Pickleball never went
anywhere.
anywhere, but
They're doing a good job of using those courts. And then Willowbrook, who is returning, they had a hiatus last year. They are actually probably out of Browns Ferry Park as we speak, getting camp set up. So I'm really excited to have them back. I also wanted to have a special shout out to Tualatin Safety Town, which is not pictured here, but that's another great program that really focuses on that youth development, and we're happy to have them in our city as well. And I think
we're at thank you.
I think this might be the end, but it just keeps going forever and ever because this is what we're going to be doing, and it's such an honor to always. I know I say this every single year, but it is true. I am so thankful to be part of this city and see the support that we have and work with these wonderful people. So thank you.
Right. Questions or comments for Sarah and Julie? Council Brooks.
Thank you very much for all the great work that you both do. Just the response to the programming that you do is says it all pretty much in my mind. I had a question just because it came up for me today. Since the library is one of the only areas in the city that's open on Juneteenth, are there any activities or programmings or thoughts about that in the future?
One of our challenges is when we are open on a holiday, we are actually open on minimal staffing, which makes it a little more difficult for us to run programs. We have, in collaboration with other folks in the city, some of whom have moved on to other cities at this point, but it is a day where we mostly have substitute staff, and we really feel like the importance of Juneteenth is being on June 19th. We choose to, we don't want to kind of mix the message of the day by holding it on a day that's less significant.
Yeah.
I think, though, to your point, and going back to that last slide, that we're always looking for ways to partner and to continue to broaden our reach to other members of our community, and we're always looking for ways to provide a greater diversity of programs. And so, whether that's with the school district or in other internal departments or other groups in the city.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, maybe we could have a reading list or something like that for people.
Yeah.
And have it something that'd be easy to find on for June.
Certainly.
So people can at least get educated and learn. And then also, I'm just curious, and I don't know how the rest of the council feels about this because I did not talk about this earlier, but when our city manager mentioned that there's a reading contest going on within the city, and the city council is not part of that reading contest for the summer, I don't know if there's an opportunity there or if this council is even interested in that, but.
Well, I think it sounds like we need to talk.
Especially if emails and these kinds of things count. So anyway.
You know, the agendas that you had to read, reports that you had to read, but also if you have young people in your life and you're reading to them, that also counts. Audiobooks count. So there's lots of ways to get your reading in. So if the council is interested in trying to eat the library.
Absolutely. We will include you in admin. You have to sign up for summer reading. So you have to go to the library and sign up, and then we'll include you in our group.
Do you think that's fair that they're including us in admin, or should we have our own? No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
We need all the help we can get against the library.
What kind of numbers are we looking at?
Well, we are only just starting to get our returning logs from people because there's one of those logs is a substantial amount of reading. It's over 1,000 minutes. So what is happening though for the group that comes closest to us, we will have a little celebration and some lunch. Should a group actually read more collectively than the library reads, we will make them shirts that say we outread the library.
Ooh.
Now, I have been telling my colleagues at the library that we really do not want to surrender unbearable bragging rights to another department. So the game is on.
That's all my questions. Thank you very much. I appreciate your guys' enthusiasm.
Our spouse is going to be included?
No.
Council?
Nope.
No, all right.
Nope. Same rules. Same rules.
I'm out.
Other questions or comments? Counselor Sacco.
Thank you. More of a comment, but in past years, I have expressed concern about the the summer camps filling up, and I just want to say thank you, Julie, for being proactive and addressing that. And I know that you are working hard on that, and I just wanted to say thank you for bringing that up. And hopefully we can get more, kids and programs that are here in Tualatin, especially, parents who are busy that can't drive other places. And, some summer camps are much more expensive than what Tualatin provides. And I think that you all do such a great job. Again, a testament to them filling up so quickly. And thank you again for making Tualatin residents a priority as well. So I just wanted to say, I appreciate everything that the Parks Department's doing in that space, and continue to support any efforts to expand those programs.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
All right.
And this will be my last presentation. So.
Thank you.
For tonight.
Unless you want to
You're not
sub for
going to leave me
Matt.
hanging next year.
Okay.
We'll be back next year, same time. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. That brings us to public hearing on Resolution 5883-25, receiving state revenue sharing funds. This is a public hearing for the City Council to consider Resolution 5883-25, declaring the city's election to receive state revenue sharing funds in the amount of $479,130 during the fiscal year 2025-2026. If this resolution is approved, the city will be eligible to receive state shared revenues. If the council decides not to approve the resolution, the city will not receive state shared revenues and will need to reduce its expenditures or contingencies. The hearing will be conducted as follows. First, the public hearing will be opened and city staff will make a presentation. Next, the council will hear from members of the public who wish to testify in favor of the resolution, followed by members of the public who wish to testify against the resolution, followed by anyone else who would like to testify. Upon conclusion of public testimony, individual councils may ask questions of city staff and any person who provided testimony. After council questions, the council will close the public portion of the hearing and consider the resolution. Upon conclusion of deliberations, the council will consider whether or not to adopt resolution number 5883-23. Does any member of the council wish to abstain from participating in this hearing? All right, seeing none, I'll now open the hearing, and Matt Warner will now kick off the presentation for city staff. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'm Matt Warner, Assistant Finance Director with the city. I'm here tonight to talk about the state shared revenues. The city receives a share of a number of different taxes from the state, including cigarette taxes, marijuana tax, gas tax, and liquor tax. The liquor tax is actually broken up into two separate components, and the public hearing tonight is on one of those components. We are required under Oregon Revised Statutes 221.770 to hold two separate public hearings in order to receive these funds. The first was held before the Budget Committee on May 28th on the possible uses of the funds, and the second is here tonight on the proposed uses of the funds. The city is estimated to receive $479,130 in fiscal year 2025-26. These funds have been programmed into the general fund and are unrestricted, and so they will go towards general city operations. Cigarette taxes, gas taxes, marijuana taxes, and the remaining portion of the liquor taxes are not covered by this public hearing. At the end of the hearing tonight, we ask that you please pass this resolution in order for the city to receive these funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Are there any members of the public who wish to testify in favor of this proposal? Seeing no one's hands up in the room. Anyone on Zoom? All right. Is there any member of the public who wants to testify against the proposal, either in the room or on Zoom? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next one. Is there any other member of the public that wants to testify in either matter? Still nobody there. All right. Does any member of the council have a question for Matt? Good.
I'm just curious, we had talked earlier up to the library issue with Commissioner, our Washington County Commissioner, and due to the nature of the tax from liquor, is there thoughts that go towards community support and treatment and or the police, or is there ways that we spend that money towards offsetting any problems from?
Well, so these funds are programmed into the general fund, and so they cover the expenses that the police puts together in their proposed budget. And so if we're talking about adding any additional expenditures, those would have to come out of other expenditures that were budgeted. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I just was wondering if there was ever a thought towards that, that frame of thinking. So it's not a deal breaker for me, but it's a curiosity.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right. Seeing that there are no further questions, I'll go ahead and close the hearing, and we'll start the deliberations of this resolution. Any deliberations or motions?
I'll make a motion to, do we have to do it by first reading and all that?
No, just adopt the resolution.
Adopt resolution number 588025, awarding a contract.
No, 5883.
Where am I? Oh, I'm sorry, 588325, declaring the city's election to receive state revenue sharing funds during fiscal year 2025-26.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 5883-25, receiving state revenue sharing funds. Are there any discussions on those motions? This is a roll call vote, so I'll go ahead and start with Councilor Sacco.
Aye.
Councilor Hillier.
Aye.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Brooks.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye also. It is unanimous. All right. Thank you, Matt. Next up is general business. Item number 1, resolution 5880-25, awarding the contract for the 2025 pavement maintenance program. Rachel, you're up. Welcome, Rachel.
Hello. Hi.
You sure you don't want to sit in the sun?
Well, I'm like the world's most cold-blooded person, so if I'm doing this, it's because I'm freezing and I forgot to bring a sweater today. So, good evening, Mayor and Council. Last but certainly not least is a discussion tonight about our pavement maintenance program and the planned work for the 2025 summer. Unfortunately, I'm supposed to be here with Bert Olheiser, our street sewer storm superintendent. He is out of the office on bereavement leave at the moment. So you will have to
listen to me again. So if you do have technical questions that I'm unable to answer, I will preface with saying I can bring any answers back that he may have that I don't possess if you do ask those tonight. So anyways, tonight I'm here to present some information about our 2025 maintenance program scope of work with an ultimate ask for your authorization to award a construction contract with Knife River to complete work beginning in July at the start of the 25-26 fiscal year. First, I figured I would give you some background about pavement maintenance. I don't believe, since I've been with the City of Tualatin, we've done any sort of presentation to this council about pavement maintenance. So a little bit of some precursory information is probably helpful. There goes Matt. Anyways, the city's pavement maintenance program, it's funded by the Road Utility Fund. So if you'll remember back from our whirlwind budget committee meetings, this fund obtains its revenues from the street fee, road maintenance fee that's charged on all monthly utility bills, along with some revenues from the counties, both Clackamas and Washington County vehicle licensing fees. So it's funded pretty much locally. It's not funded through gas tax or anything like that. The city's pavement maintenance program aims to keep roadways in good condition through a mix of different preventative maintenance and repair projects. So first is crack seal. I've kind of got these listed in order of how expensive they are. So the first is crack seal. And you may see these on roadways when you drive around and you notice that there's, looks like some spiderweb cracking that's filled with like a rubbery looking solution. That's crack seal. So that helps fill in the cracks in a roadway so water can't get in there. And we know when water gets in asphalt, freezes, expands, really bad for it. So that's first. Second is slurry seal. That's that sludgy tar material that you may have had laid down in your neighborhood. That's commonly used on residential streets to help kind of put a thin layer on top to help preserve anything that may be cracking or sinking. It's often paired with a full depth patch of some areas that have more significant issues. Third is an overlay. And so this is also called a grind and overlay. It's a little bit more intensive, more of a full-blown construction project that requires design and a lot more time to get prepared for. And this is where you would grind off a couple top layer of the asphalt of a roadway, and then you completely reconstruct it with a new layer of asphalt on top. And finally is a full-blown reconstruction. This is taking a roadway all the way down to the base and then fully rebuilding it. Very expensive and something that we do not aim to do as part of our pavement maintenance program. And in fact, we don't do it as part of our pavement maintenance program just because of the expense associated with it. If a roadway isn't preventatively maintained, it must be fully reconstructed eventually. It's significantly more expensive and, as I said, not done as part of the PMP. Each year we select roadways for focused preventative maintenance. So that's the first three options that I talked about. So how do we select roadways? So we utilize a couple of different factors when we're deciding what roadways get work. There's lots of roadways in Tualatin and lots of roadways need work. So how do we make these decisions? So first and foremost, it's important to point out that every roadway is broken into smaller segments. So if you say take Boones Ferry Road or 124th, they're broken into smaller segments, so we're more able to analyze them based on a zoomed in factor as opposed to an entire roadway perspective. Each segment of the roadway has what's called a pavement condition index score that's based on how much the roadway has degraded. It's basically an industry standard that's used in all cities to kind of rate pavement, essentially give it a score. So that's very nice because not a lot of assets have necessarily a condition rating that we can assign to it. So our goal is for our roadways to be maintained with the right treatment at the right time to ensure that they don't degrade to what I like to call the point of no return, when the roadway breaks down so much that preventative maintenance no longer works and yada yada, we get into the reconstruction that I talked about. So using the PCI score as a guide, along with things like the geographical organization of our roadways, context about other projects that may be going on in the city, and of course our budgetary limitations, we select roadways for treatment each year. And we've actually shifted the approach of the pavement maintenance program in the last couple of years. So previously, we would do crack seal, slurry seal, and overlay work every year, all in one summer. It was a lot. It was a lot for staff to manage. And also as costs increased, we really saw that after the pandemic was over. We really needed to think about how we maximize the use of our funds, how we economize our staff time. So we decided to get a little bit creative, and we decided to move towards an every other year approach. So 1 year we'll do the slurry seal and the crack seal, and then the next year we'll do an overlay project. So it'll break it up into kind of that shifting approach, make it a little bit easier. We're able to complete a larger volume of work, but we only do it every other year. And we suspect, and we haven't been doing this enough years to kind of know for certain, but we suspect we're able to get a better cost value when we bundle together larger areas of the same type of treatment. It makes it more attractive for paving and roadway companies to bid on, because there's only so many of these companies, and every city does pavement maintenance in the summer. So if we can make our package a little bit bigger, it makes it more attractive to bid on. This year, we are in an overlay year, so we will be overlaying some selected pavement sections. And note that the cost or an overlay project, it includes kind of a bundled package. It's got design work, it's got that full depth patch work, it's got ADA ramp replacement that is required when you're doing an overlay project. That's an ADA standard. And then we also do storm drain replacement. That's part of a CWS requirement that we have to meet each year. So there's a couple of different contractors that go into it. We have a design contractor, and then there's some geotech stuff that goes into it. So we execute a couple of different contracts, but the construction contract itself is the big cost. Okay, so we'll break down kind of what we are proposing to do this year. This is where Bert was going to take over, so apologies if I miss anything. So we've selected 5 sections of roadways using our Street Saver program, which is it's an asset management program that we utilize to organize all of our roadways with PCI scores and maintenance history in there, and it helps give us a methodology for selecting roadways and provides recommendations. So we're happy to have that program. We also have used some visual inspections that we have done, and also that context of what's going on in the city has been actually pretty instrumental this year, in particular for our overlay projects. So the first section of roadway that we're proposing to overlay is Saggart Street from Boones Ferry Road to Martinazzi Avenue. So does this thing have a pointer? Yes. Ding, ding. So these areas in blue here. And if you'll note, we also are looking to do a short section of Martinazzi Avenue from Seminole Trail to Avery Street down here. This section of roadway, or at least the lion's share, has a PCI score of 55, which is fair. It's getting to that point where we got to do something. If you let it slip any lower, we could be looking at some cost increases. Overlaying these sections of roadways is going to match up to 2 of our previous CIP projects, the sewer upsizing work that was done on Martinazzi, and the new signal installation at the Saggart intersection, which I believe was done as part of the bond. Yeah, so this will complete our roadway improvements from Saggart Street to Boones Ferry Road and to the I-5 bridge. There will be 6 ADA ramp improvements in this section and 7 catch basin retro upgrades, which I mentioned are a requirement as part of our CWS IGA. We have to upgrade and make our catch basins sumped, essentially able to handle more debris each year. Okay, next is Nyberg Lane from 65th Avenue to 57th Avenue, and then up 57th Avenue from Nyberg Lane up to Natchez Street. So these 2 roadways have an average PCI of 65. ADA ramps at 65th Avenue, I am terrible with this thing over here, have already been upgraded by Washington County, and the recently built apartment complex has improved a portion of the roadway section over here. I think they're, what are these called? The Stones Throw apartments? So combining these two roadways together will reduce the contractor mobilization and construction costs. We're looking again for some efficiencies, and there will be 14 ADA ramp improvements in this area. We acknowledge that we're going to need to work closely with Willowbrook Summer Camp because this will be in session at the same time of improving the ramps, in particular at the Browns Ferry Park entrance. I am not entirely certain of the timing on the camp and the paving work itself, but it is something that we definitely have acknowledged, and we will work with Parks on that. So before I get to the next, I will mention that we had Boones Ferry Road. My slides out of order. Yes, they are out of order. Apologies. Boones Ferry Road from Tualatin Road to the Tualatin River Bridge was initially selected back, last October when we were selecting roadways because the design process takes several months. It was selected for an overlay. It's ripe for an overlay, but then with the Cora information and the downtown revitalization project, it's a little up in the air what's going to happen and if that roadway is going to be kind of a central figure or portion through that redevelopment area. We decided ultimately to remove it from the overlay list for the next summer and kind of wait and see what's going to happen in that area so we aren't throwing money at a roadway that then maybe ripped up. Something may happen to it in the future. That said, we're still going to do, he writes, 400 square yards of full depth patching. So it may look a little wonky, but it's worth the I think, aesthetic displeasingness to get those full depth patches done. It'll make the roadway ultimately a smoother ride and will help mitigate the issues. So eventually we can come back and overlay if that's what's in the cards. So now I'm going to go back. So we said, well, we should probably add something else to the list. So we determined that we could add a small section of 108th Avenue right up here near Tualatin Road. This has a PCI score of 40. It's in pretty poor shape. So the roadway transitions from concrete to asphalt right there up until you reach Tualatin Road. And so there's been recent reconstruction along 108th. So we felt that this was the right time to do an overlay, and it felt like a pretty simple add. So we don't have to do any ADA improvements or anything like that. ADA improvements take quite a bit of design work, surprisingly. So this felt like something we could add in relatively quickly to the scope of work. Speaking of ADA ramps, so this is a significant cost as part of the pavement maintenance program for overlay that I think may be a little bit unknown. So the total number of ADA ramp improvements in this project is 21, and that is a total cost of $296,000. So ADA ramps are not cheap. They're about $14,000 a piece for this. Moving forward, so we put out our bid package. We feel like we put it out at a good time this spring. We received 5 bids. We were happy with that result. And the low bid was from Knife River for a total price of $1,202,959.70. It was below engineer's estimate, so we are happy about that. We are seeing construction prices become a little bit more competitive. So we're asking for council's approval of this package. This will allow us to proceed with construction starting in July, like I mentioned. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them now.
Questions for Rachel? Can you bring back Councilor Sacco? Bring her back. There she is. Questions? Motions?
I'll make a motion to adopt, no, am I doing the right one? Resolution number 588025, awarding the contract for the construction of the 2025 pavement maintenance program.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 5880-25, awarding the contract for the 2025 pavement maintenance program. Any discussions on those motions? Councilor Sacco?
Aye.
Councilor Hilliard?
Aye.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Brooks?
Aye.
Chair votes yes. It's unanimous. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Rachel.
It was those technical questions.
All right. So that brings us to items removed from consent. We had none. Any council communications? Seeing none. Council Hillier?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion second for adjournment of this meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you for attending tonight, and have a very good evening. Bye, Councilor Sacco.